Tonight we will be covering the unsolved murder of one Nick Guju, who was found brutally hacked to death in his own driveway. With only a few witnesses and no suspects, it's small wonder the case remains unsolved, but we believe we may have information that could be rather sinister. I'm your host, Klaus von Gusikov, and you're watching Brutal Unsolved Murders to watch on a Tuesday night. On June 31st, Nicholas Guju's body, better known as Nick, was found by one of his neighbors, having been brutally hacked to death earlier that day. Based on the forensics of that time, it was determined that he would have made it around 10 steps out of the door, gotten onto his bike, his beloved milk crate bike known as Crady, and then Nick Guju was brutally slaughtered here. The weapon? A single machete, used several times on his back. There was only one witness on record. And he goes past the lawn, and I hear about a good 4 or 5 solid whacks down upon old Nick Guju's back there, and him going, for help.
I got the sense that something wasn't quite right here, so I went to our main source of information on the case, lead detective Nigel Jeff Hughes.
That investigation got the exact same treatment any other investigation would have gotten. I personally made sure it was handled. So it would seem, if not for this shocking piece of footage that one of our head researchers uncovered. This other piece of footage.
With this evidence in hand, I went back to confront Officer Nigel.
Yeah, so I cleaned down a driveway. So what? We can only do so much, I mean, how else are we supposed to get the chalk lines around the body? Everyone is just so ungrateful about it. There was blood in the way. We had to get the chalk down. So yeah, I gave it a little spritz of the hose, and the fan was going, why are you?
This rant went on for 30 more minutes before we were able to leave. From this interrogation, 2 things became clear. Officer Nigel never emotionally matured enough for the job of homicide detective, and he couldn't have been the mastermind behind this whole murder. Which of course meant we were back at the drawing board. Our team of researchers worked for weeks, and in that time, we found the answer. We found our lead. It was under our very noses. It was everywhere in the case, leaving its tracks wherever it ran.
We know you saw everything, Grady. We can't imagine how stressful it must have been. All these years of being quiet. But now, we need you to talk. Is that what I think it is?
We may never know who was responsible for the brutal machete murder of Nick Guju. Was it an incompetent officer? A senile neighbor?
Or just the actions of a madman who will remain at large and haunt us with the knowledge that the universe is a cruel and uncaring place where people just die senselessly without reason, without explanation, and we're just left to pick up the remains of what happens because existence is Yeah, I've calmed down. I'm calm, Larry.
Who do you think killed him?
And I don't know, maybe the old man did it? The tragic death of Nick Guju remains, to this day, unsolved. Do you have a tip related to any of the cases we've covered? Send them to our fax line, located below, and we'll be in touch. Because no stone remains unturned on brutal murders to watch on Tuesday nights.